All right, we are now live. So welcome everybody. Let's see. Oh, the participants are piling in.
Oh,
Yay!
They have been
or
waiting.
suckers.
They've been waiting for this.
They've been
Already
waiting.
started.
No
Mr. Hartley,
idea.
are you the Grinch or are you mocking the Grinch with your shirt?
Well, no. So today is ugly Christmas sweater day at work. So I, of course, had to do it. And then my daughters have matching sweaters. So this is the Grinchy at my house. We watch the Grinch every
So let's see. We need to see the full
More
view.
more
Let's-
sweater.
More sweater.
Oh, I love the Grinch.
Resting
nice.
Grinch
There you
face.
go.
Yes.
That's
Nice.
It's
awesome.
really the only appropriate Christmas sweater I have. For those of you that know me well, you know that is a factual statement.
I feel
Oh,
really
there you go,
You still have
Kimberly.
all of
put on my
Carrie's
festive
sweaters?
hat.
There you go.
Oh, I have to counteract his Grinch, right? So,
Right.
Apparently.
Yeah. or maybe it just helps me to get in the better spirit. Oh no, wait, maybe that's what's in here. Who knows?
So does everybody have a Christmas tree up?
I do.
Oh, Keith McKinney, thank you.
A little.
Love Keith McKinney. Love me some Keith McKinney.
Aw.
Keith, you need to
That's
cross
hard.
I-4 and come see me. So I
This
haven't.
is like a Christmas present to all of us and the industry. We all get to see each other. It's kind of
Yes.
fun.
It is fun.
Nice pleasure. Thank you for organizing it.
So it occurs to me
Probably
that I
been
probably
since
should
the
have
wrong
the. What?
Probably been since the Builder Show, since we've actually all seen like what, January,
Exactly.
the last time.
It's crazy.
Get that, so
I mean, we should have each seen each other at least 5 times since then.
Mhm.
At least.
Oh,
No.
At
Well, I
least.
guess I picked a good time to have a baby, huh?
Yes. you
Yeah.
did.
Perfect.
Ah.
Perfect year.
I'm not
Why
exactly sure that I would put that on the top of my list with this, but okay.
You
There
know?
we go.
With all the fun we were having, I forgot to open the PowerPoint presentation. So that's good,
We've
right?
got PowerPoint.
We did,
So-
well,
Oh,
no,
just for some opening
Fancy.
just for
slides.
just for opening.
December 11th. Wow.
I know.
She wanted to put a bow on it,
I love
We're
it.
wrapping it up in a big red bow. Yes.
wrapping it up.
2020 is almost over. Don't you guys wish it would last forever?
Hey, Mike Davidson.
Hasn't it
Oh,
already
Davidson.
lasted forever? I think it's already lasted forever.
What's going to happen in 2021? We'll have no excuses. We'll have to just get down to it.
Oh my God.
Move on.
Mm.
Could have guessed.
Mm.
All right. Somebody tell me how are we doing on time here? Oh, it is 2:01.
It's
So
2:01.
we have some tardy attendees because we had so many people who signed up, but they can join in and join in all this fun. So I'm going to go ahead and kick us off here. And again, Carol and I are just so excited to be with this huge group of brain power, this big trust that we've rounded up for you. And of course, we want to thank Lasso for their top tips, so that they do every year, so that the top new homes and sales and marketing tips. So we got the best of the best for you here today. And Carol, why don't you kick it off by introducing yourself?
Great. Well, welcome everybody and happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas. And I think we're all very happy that 2020 is on the downhill slide toward New Year's. I'm Carol Morgan. I'm with Denim Marketing, founder and president, located in greater metro Atlanta area. I'm coming to you guys from my 20-acre horse farm, and happy to be here and have all of these fun industry experts, and I call them all my friends as well, here with us today.
I thought you were in your closet.
Well, I'm in my closet on the farm, you know.
Oh, okay, just checking.
I'd broadcast from outside the horse pasture if I could figure out a way to do it.
With your internet there out in left Egypt, I wouldn't recommend it. So
No.
So, and I am Kimberly Mackey. I'm the founder of New Home Solutions Consulting and your co-host here. I am coming to you from sunny Tampa, Florida. So where it's a balmy 72 degrees today. Woohoo, yes, don't you want to be me? I work with, I'm a sales and marketing management consultant. I work with builders, developers, and large brokerages. So I like to say I'm the person who makes sure that sales is the engine that drives the train instead of runs it off the tracks. So I do process, procedures, and training. And here's how you can reach me. And then we have with us, we're so excited, Angela McKay, from ECI Lasso. Angela, can you give us a shout out and tell us a little bit about yourself and then about this tradition that Lasso has had for the last, I don't know how many years?
Absolutely. So good morning, good afternoon. I'm in Vancouver, so it's still morning. My name's Angela McKay, and I'm the VP of Client Experience with ECI, which includes Lasso, Mark Systems, LotView, Build Tools, and Bolt. Gosh, we're growing. We're adding to the product mix. When Carol and Kimberly reached out a couple of months ago to talk about hosting this webinar, I have to admit I was pretty excited because it's nice to be a participant. So thank you, both of you. Most of you know that providing education to home building is really important to us at ECI on Lasso. And whether it's webinars or resource guides, we work really hard with our partners to deliver relevant education for sales and marketing professionals. And so the Sales and Marketing Tips blog post really sprung from all of these relationships. And in January of 2015, so 6 years ago, we published a single blog post with tips from 18 industry experts. We were pretty proud of the fact that it was 18. And some of you are on this panel today who contributed 6 years ago. And each year that number has grown. And 2 years ago, we had so many entries that we had to divide the blog into sales and marketing. And then last year it was sales, marketing, and market insight. And this year we had a total of 61 contributions. So
Wow.
we have, I know, we have wonderful friends, partners, and clients, and we are extremely grateful. So I spent some time reviewing some of the tips from years past, and maybe not surprisingly, many are still relevant, are good reminders. So I encourage you to go back into the archives on our website. And while no one could have predicted what would happen in 2020, those who talked last year about the buyer journey and the importance of your website and virtual experience pretty much nailed it. But I don't think anyone missed the mark, because whether it's about your digital presence, your follow-up and sales process, or understanding your data, all are relevant and important more than ever before. So what this year highlighted, in my opinion, is the importance of really listening to all of these experts, because they've really got a pretty good track record. So I encourage you all to visit the Lasso CRM website, and I'll post the links to the articles, and read what these industry experts have to say. And hats off to the person who may be on this panel who made mention to the great Ricky Bobby. You're gonna have to read that post, or maybe he'll divulge himself today. So let's keep listening. But thank you, Kimberly and Carol, for this opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun for us. The links are on your screen, but Angela's also going to put them in the chat so that you can cut and paste them. As always, we're recording, so you will be able to go back and review any of these tips and share them with your teams. So, but we're excited to have so many of you join us live, and we're anticipating a very lively chat today. So the chat box is open. But without further ado, let's meet the experts of our panel.
Yeah, and most of these experts really need no introduction because you know them all. So we're just going to do quick rapid fire. First, we have Anya Chrysanthum. She's a content marketing strategist and host of a top-rated new construction marketing podcast. She helps builders, contractors, and housing industry sales professionals sell more homes by consistently keeping in touch with their customers through email marketing and social media. So welcome, Anya.
And our next guest might need a little bit of introduction for some of you, but maybe not, because he's so well known in the industry. Chris Hartley is the Vice President of Sales for K. Hovnanian Homes. He has 17 years of new home sales experience as an on-site sales representative, corporate sales trainer, Vice President of Sales and Marketing, and VP of Operations. In addition, Chris is a certified trainer for the Texas Real Estate Commission. He's a frequent contributor to industry-leading publications on numerous industry podcasts and a highly sought-out public speaker. Chris was named Sales Manager of the Year by the Dallas Builders Association, Silver Award finalist for the National Sales Manager of the Year at the Nationals, and an NAHB Gold Award winner at the Nationals for the One to Watch. He's a Texas winner for Sales Manager of the Year, NAHB's Young Professional of the Year finalist, and has been recognized in Professional Builders 40 Under 40. He's an active member of the Zillow Builder Advisory Board, as well as a board member for Atlas RTX. So thanks for joining us, Chris.
Thank
Holy
you.
crap.
I
I
know.
want to be him.
Right.
I know.
Dang.
And then we've got Laura Owenby saying that he's on Team Grinch, which I love.
Yeah.
Great comment.
I'm like, dang, Chris.
I know. Next up, we have Greg Bray, president of the 30-person agency Blue Tangerine. Greg uses digital marketing to help home builders and specialty retailers grow sales. Blue Tangerine is a digital marketing and website development agency specializing in helping home builders and specialty retailers grow their sales. And they achieve that goal by helping you build a better website and drive more qualified traffic to that website. He is proud to be the host of Home Builder Digital Marketing Summit and Home Builder Digital Marketing Podcast. So welcome, Greg.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. And then, of course, from the frozen tundra up north, we have Carrie Mulcrone, who is the founder and owner of Carrie & Co. She is a new home sales, leadership, and coaching company celebrating 35 years in the home building industry. What, did you start when you were 5?
She did.
Oh, man.
I
Carrie,
skipped.
you skipped, yes. Carrie shares her hands-on, direct from the trenches experience and knowledge coast to coast, developing company synergy and systems which create both a love to work here and people love to work with us environment. Carrie's energy is infectious, her as is her accent, and her and her compassion compelling. Visit carrieandco.com to learn more.
Oh, Corey.
We have one of our 2 Kevins here, Kevin Oakley. He is managing partner at Do You Convert? He was intimately involved in developing, marketing, and selling well over $2 billion in new homes while working for 3 different home builders prior to joining DYC, as they call themselves. Kevin is the author of Pre-Sell Without Fail, The Secret to Launching New Communities with Maximum Results, and he is host of Market Proof Marketing Podcast. So welcome, Kevin.
Thanks for having me.
And then definitely not to be missed, we have Kevin Weitzel. Kevin is a former professional cyclist and Olympic alternate. That's pretty impressive, as well as a highly decorated former United States Marine. Thank you very much for your service, sir. His many productive years in the cycling industry landed him a very successful career in the motorcycle and automobile industry. His belief in and practice of relationship selling catapulted him from floor sales to general manager of the largest motorcycle dealer network in the United States in less than 5 years. Disenchanted with the auto industry, so their loss is our gain, he joined the team at Outhouse and led the team to the largest sales growth in company history since the downturn. He's an expert in interactive builder web and marketing content, 3D rendering, animation, drafting, virtual reality, Matterport, print marketing, and print marketing collateral. So you can find him at outhouse.net.
And next up, we have Matt Riley. He has invested the last 17 years of his career in the home building industry, from his first job as an on-site sales counselor to running sales and marketing operations of top 100 builders to his current role as vice president with Group 2 Advertising. Matt regularly speaks at IBS, the Pacific Coast Builder Conference, Builder 20 groups, and many other new homes and sales marketing trainings and conferences. He was selected to Professional Builders 40 Under 40 in 2019 and was the 2020 Silver Award winner of One to Watch. He is the co-host of Building Perspective, which is a weekly podcast specifically designed to help share best practices in the home building industry. You can learn more about him at group2.com. Welcome, Matt.
And in case you've been hiding under a rock for the last 20 or so years, this is Meredith Oliver, MERM, MCSP, CMP, or CSP, sorry. She's a sales and marketing strategist specializing in home builder marketing. She's the co-founder and chief marketing strategist of Meredith Communications, a digital marketing agency in Raleigh, North Carolina. Meredith holds a master's degree in communication technology and is the author of 2 books, Fantastic Marketing and Fantastic Selling. She's a professional speaker and holds the prestigious CSP, Certified Speaking Professional designation, the highest designation conferred by the National Speakers Association. She's also a MERM, which is a Master in Residential Marketing, and an MCSP, Master Certified Sales Professional. Meredith received the MERM Designee of the Year award at 2017 NAHB's International Builder Show. You can learn more about her at meredithcommunications.com.
Thanks.
And last but certainly not least, we have Roland Narnancy with us. I always pronounce his last name wrong, so sorry about that, Roland. He is president of New Home Sales Plus. He grew up in Great Britain, just north of London, so you're going to be charmed by his phenomenal accent today. He moved to the States and started working for his first home builder in 1987. He has successfully sold homes for numerous builders ever since as a salesperson, a selling manager, and director of sales. He is personally responsible for almost $1 billion of new home sales. He became a national sales trainer in 2002 and spent a decade training thousands of salespeople all across North America to replicate his sales success. You can visit newhomesalesplus.com for more information. Welcome, Roland.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me. Can't wait to have some fun with everybody.
Yeah. So now I think, Kimberly, we're going to go to kind of our Brady Bunch screen here.
We are. I'm going to stop
you'll
sharing my
see
screen.
All of us at once.
Yes, there we go. You gotta hit the right buttons.
This is the
in
point
right
where we're
order.
all supposed to look around or look down or look to see where
Yeah.
the Brady Bunch is. Okay. So we're going to kick this off with our first question to Kimberly. Kimberly, how can you make sure that technology enhances the customer journey versus detracting from it?
So I think Angela talked about how important the customer journey and the customer experience is, and Chris Hartley and I even several years ago at IBS spoke on the importance of that customer experience. And having just gone through the purchase of a new home, I can tell you, even for someone who's been in the industry as long as I have, that customer experience is paramount. You have to make sure that you're setting the right expectations every step of the way. If you're not, I mean, you got to go back and you got to really slice it and dice it and plan it all out. And I didn't coin the phrase, but I used the Southern colloquialism when I was on with Kevin and Greg on their podcast recently. And I said, it's like putting lipstick on a pig. If you just add technology and you layer in your technology without examining your processes, because if you don't know what your processes are, all you're going to do is you're going to amplify what's going wrong in your company, because it's going to happen so much faster when you add technology on top of it. So that is something that I've been shouting from the mountaintops, is please take time. This is not a 5-minute exercise. Really map out those processes. Look at your workflow and look at the communication so that you can make sure that everybody's singing from the same sheet of music. So hopefully that answers your question. Does that
Absolutely. Great answer. And we've got some comments. The lipstick on a pig quote, KT says is her favorite quote.
So, well, apparently mine too. So now Greg and Kevin pointed it out. And so I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going with it. Let's own it. So I said it, I might as well own it.
Heck yeah.
So absolutely. So, and Carol, you stated that that builders need to focus on earned media. So what do you mean by that? And how should they be doing it?
So, it's interesting. And we're going to talk probably a lot about content today. Content is so important, and we all know we need that content for social media and we need content for blogs. But the one thing that our industry seems to not really focus on so much is media relations, which would be earned media, writing a press release or writing a really great pitch and, crafting that and sending it to a reporter to score phenomenal placement, because you can drive a ton of traffic to your new home communities through earned media. And it's been very interesting this year with COVID. When it all broke out, nobody wanted to hear any of our pitches for anything. Everybody changed all of their reporting to 100% COVID. And then that started to, cause COVID fatigue. And it's been a really interesting year for us at Denim Marketing, because we still specialize in earned media and media relations. And we've gotten some phenomenal scores for our clients because the reporters are tired of writing about COVID and they're looking for new things to write. So it's just a great opportunity. I think as we move into 2021, I'm hopeful that some of these publications will start to thrive a little bit more. The one thing that COVID really did hurt this year was print publications, and we're losing more and more reporters and media. So which is a double-edged sword. It's good because they're looking for more stories that we kind of craft and feed the story to them, but it's bad because there's less publications to pitch. But if it's something that's not part of your mix, consider adding it in 2021, because you can get just fantastic exposure for pennies on the dollar. And, you know, traffic will come. It'll be that direct traffic you see on your website, unless you're lucky enough to actually get a link from the publication.
Oh,
Madam President, I have a
Gary's got a
question.
question.
Oh, a question.
Carol, give us an example of earned media, something that a builder's done. What's something that they could go, well, we've done that.
So I can give you an example. We set up a tour for Minerva Homes for their property 1200 Ponce, which is actually a really cool infill in-town project. It's an old church and a lot of buildings around the church that they have. They're in the process of transforming into, you know, condos and townhomes. And there is a reporter that I pitched on the story, and he came. We toured him. I mean, all over the property. He climbed actually all the way up in the bell tower and rang the bell on the church. But this story ran online in Atlanta Magazine's online edition. And the nice thing about Atlanta Magazine, and so many pubs now, you know, if it's online, it's not just online, it's also in their email that goes out to 15,000 people via email.
Wow.
So it's online and it's in their email, and it helped to really drive more traffic to them and to help them make more sales. So that's a great example. You know, another example that would be, you know, relevant to everybody on this call is, you know, Builder Online, you know, placing stories on Builder Online, either, you know, on your own company or on Builders, or on, for us, we try to place our products, you know, our clients
Yep.
provide services or products to the industry. But, you know, something like that, or maybe it's a radio show, and, you know, to some extent, podcasts have even become earned media, because, you know, and I laughed at how many of us, you know, I have a podcast too. We're 10 years old this year, which is crazy that we've been on air 10 years. And the number of listeners and the people who are like, oh, you know, I heard your podcast, and, you know, ask questions about it. So that's earned media as well. Don't discount that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Kimberly?
it did. I just know that we say all this stuff and everyone's like, great.
What does that mean? Yeah.
What does that mean? So
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. And we're going to go ahead. I'm sorry, Kimberly.
I was going to say, and thank you for speaking up. So yeah, and please, everybody, do ask questions and participate in the chat. None of us, all of us here are pros, so you can't distract us. It'll be all right. Don't
Yeah.
wait.
I'm going to jump in real quick because, Carol, I loved your piece when I read it. And so that is something that I had personal experience as well with a builder that I was working with. So it's the coolest stories I have to share with you guys. So this builder is building in inner city Chicago. Okay. And as many of you probably know, right now with inner cities, they're having a lot of issues with people not wanting to stay in the city, right? So everyone's moving out in suburbs. So it's the opposite of what's happening with many suburban communities where everyone's moving, building homes, and it's the boom. In the inner cities, it's really kind of a desperate situation a lot of times. And so this developer, what they did is they painted all of their garage doors. So it's like an alley if you think about the homes facing each other. So it creates an alley with garage doors facing each other. They had commissioned local street artists to paint garage doors into this beautiful murals. And so if you think about inner city and the murals and everything,
Yeah,
so of course
Yeah.
it's be,
that's
like,
cool.
for every single community that this would work, but this was something that the builder kind of had a vision for it, and we pitched it to a local real estate magazine, that's online magazine, and it took off like, I mean, it's crazy. So now they went from getting like no foot traffic, no visitors, no submissions online, no requests to visit the community, to like instant explosion. It's like, Carol, how it's
Yeah.
creating that interesting story, right? And now it's like all eyes on them. And now it's, okay, how can we sell homes out of that? So just think about different opportunities.
What's that third party credibility? If you read about it, you know, it's one thing to say it, but if you read about it and someone else says it, then, oh, it must be so. Well, sticking on the content theme, Kevin, you have coined the term content in context. What do you mean by that, and why is that important?
There's two real things around that idea. The first is that marketing is for the last several years and for the foreseeable future, no longer a one-way communication. Marketing teams aren't creating a message and just pushing it out. especially on social media, as you're scrolling through the feed, it's not just something that's eye-catching that's going to make you stop, because there's lots of weird and crazy things on social media. They're going to catch your attention. It's the context to what you are looking for as a consumer, or is going to add value to your life. The other thing is that you've got the message, you've got the medium, and then you've got the audience. And historically, those are the different parts of content that you're concerned about as a marketer. And we're already losing control of the audience. And what I mean by that is on Facebook and Instagram, if you're trying to define your audience, you're doing it the wrong way. What you're trying to do right now is define the outcomes you want. And then the algorithms are finding that right audience for you. And that trend is going to continue, and it's going to accelerate to the point where we're likely going to have almost no control over audience. The machines will take over. And right now you can pay 42 cents to interrupt someone and shout your message at them. But that's likely going to go away, because all of the tech platforms are only focused on one thing, and it's not really your money as an advertiser. It is the audience that they're trying to serve, that they want to stay on their platform as long as possible. So the content has to get better, of course. Our industry is still way behind on content as a general rule, but finding the ways to let the algorithms discover that content and find the right audience for us is where things are going. And what you said early on, Kimberly, is absolutely right. We can't have people who don't understand technology and don't understand marketing making these decisions. IT departments were created to keep email servers running and the networks working, and to replace broken keyboards and fix printers that are jammed. That's what IT departments were created. They were not created to solve the technology operational challenges that we have trying to take our companies into the digital age. And that's why we need marketing technologists to understand all these things and can speak multiple languages to keep us pointed in the right direction.
So let me follow up with that, Kevin. So are you saying that we should not be posting elevations of our homes and saying, look at the, and that's all we talk about on social media?
No, absolutely not. It's got to be in context. And so part of that is creating a library of content that's big enough that the algorithm can pick the right piece to deliver to the right person. We can't, and the other idea there is, most content we make, I say we treat them like paper plates. We take all these pictures of a home, and then like a disposable plate that I give our 4 kids to eat every meal of every day on, they just crumple it up and throw it away instead of realizing that it's got to have a longer shelf life when we make it.
It has to have a story. I mean, these homes tell a story. I've told my salespeople for years, what's the story of this home? Who lives here? Not fair housing violations, but who lives here? How do they live here? What's cool about it?
And it's giving them enough content, enough different ways that they can tell their own story and put themselves in it.
Yeah.
Can you give examples, Kevin? Again, as to say, I'm gonna borrow Carrie's question theme there, but I love the idea, but want to understand it even better. Like if you had to build a library of content for the algorithm to pick, what would that library consist of? Like, what would the mixture be?
Yes. Well, the first example I'll give you, just because I think everyone here and on the panel can relate, is someone that I know they were tasked with creating a buy it now online system in 90 days or less. Design the whole house, check out, get it done. 270 days later, they're no farther forward than they were back then. And also, they don't include standard featured lists anywhere on their website at the community level or floor plan level at all. And the reason why, Roland, is because no one at the company even knows for sure what they are. To Kimberly's point again, they're like, well, we couldn't put that on our website because it might be wrong. Well, if you can't keep your own standard features organized to the point where you can put them on your website confidently, you're nowhere near getting close to 2020, let alone 2017. And so when the consumer is typing in and searching for more information, because anyone overwhelmed with leads? We're overwhelmed with leads because we don't give people enough to self-educate. We're trying to say, no, you gotta talk to us. You gotta talk to us. Right. What if only the best ones made it through because they could self-educate themselves? And so that does mean, Roland, of course, pretty pictures and videos. It means written word. It means all of it. But the best converting website and app on the world, Roland, is Amazon. And it is not a magazine format. It is not a lifestyle-oriented piece. Here
comes the truck right there.
Exactly.
No, I'm not kidding.
Well, Carrie,
I'm
there's
not
only
kidding.
two kinds of days in quarantine, Carrie. There's the days when packages arrive and the days when they don't. So you're having a good day today.
Yeah.
I'm shopping while I'm with you.
There's days the packages
I wonder
don't
what you were doing on
arrive.
your phone
I know,
just now.
I was struggling with
I
that one
Yeah, what's
myself.
that?
Meredith. I was like,
know
what,
what
packages
you're
don't
talking
come?
about.
To me, Roland, the
There
real
is
question that I
never
would
a
love to hear
day
from
packages
you and
don't
other
arrive.
sales leaders
No.
is, what does
Yeah.
all this mean for the sales role when the consumer is even more educated than we've already been talking about for the last 10 years?
Right, right. Well, no, I think, and I've heard both you and Matt speak to this, where it's a different world now in a good way, where the client has learned so much more than they used to be able to even 10 years ago, that in the sales approach, you have to be flexible. You have to find out how they heard about you and what they saw, and then meet them in the middle, to coin a Matt phrase. I don't want to take credit for that. I think the Matt, you had talked about that. So I've used it ever since I heard you say it, but I actually love it. You know, the trainers, we tend to teach the sales part in a linear way, but it isn't usually communicated that way, right? Because clients know so much that you have to meet them where they know stuff. So you have to learn it, but then again, crumple it up, throw it away, and just relax and talk with people and find out what they know, and meet them there and understand that. So I think it requires a lot more flexibility and sort of mental nimbleness on the salesperson's part to really understand what they already like, and then just go with that momentum, as it were. Does that
Hey,
make sense?
Kevin, I have a thought that kind of goes on what you're saying, and Kimberly, with the experience, when you talk about the algorithm and like Amazon and online, is that when you take the experience and you combine them, like I've got FedEx and Amazon, and I got all these men coming to my house. It's just awesome. But I have a basket that's at the front of the house with water bottles and snacks and stuff, and say, thank you for your delivery. Take something if you want it, to add to the experience. Because those guys are driving around like crazy.
That's so nice.
Yesterday.
I need to do that.
I gave my guy a couple of bottles of water. Yeah. Maybe some other stuff too.
So, and Kevin, to just one of your words that you use, so in the sales land, as opposed to marketing, we call those included features.
Yep.
So rather than, I can't even say it. I can't say it.
All right, well, good. I appreciate you. Thank you for helping understand. I know on social media that if you put a picture of your family or kittens or puppies, you get 100 likes. If you put a picture of an elevation of a home or an architectural style or whatever we're going to call it, you get like 3 likes. So there's definitely has to be a better way.
It's true. It's just a mix of, there's a difference between likes and forward progress in that sales and marketing funnel too.
Sure.
And so you gotta find the right blend.
Yeah.
Put kittens in with the
extra. Yeah, put them in the house. Exactly.
You guys just gave me the perfect segue to ask Anya. Anya, you talk about attraction marketing. So what on earth is attraction marketing, and how can builders embrace it?
Kimberly, well, so attraction marketing is when a company provides either service or information before they ever sell anything to you. So if you think about home building industry, this is a perfect opportunity for us to educate our customers before they decide to make that decision to move forward with us as the builder. So why would you want to do that? One, content is king. We've all talked about that. It allows you to build that like and trust factor in the process, and it's great for brand building. So if you think about starting with just the Q&As of what are the most commonly asked questions when consumer starts to consider building a home, and then consider producing a short video blog that will address those questions. So it's great for SEO, right? It's going to be rich in those keywords that people are searching for when they're starting to look for a new home. So that's going to bring them to your website. And when they see those videos, they can self-educate themselves, so that we're getting less of those leads in early stages. And in the process, they're starting to develop that like and trust factor because they see you as the authority in that industry. So when they're ready to actually move forward, they're going to choose the builder that spend the time educating the consumer and kind of paying. So it's almost like you're making those deposits into their bank account little by little, right? It's a good faith deposit, so that when they're ready to move forward, you're the person that they're going to think of to go ahead with that.
I love that. I love the bank. That's such a great visual for me.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing with that is just, you want to be sure that you're consistent with your content. So I always say, try to produce something once a week. And if you can do that for a whole year, talk about Kevin's library. That's going to give you 52 pieces of content in your library ready to go. I love video for it because you can produce one short video and then you can, maybe produce a podcast, right? Just strip off the audio and you have a mini podcast, you have video, you have other ways to use it on social media. So don't make it really complicated for yourself. Video is easy to do, and then you can repurpose it in many different ways. And also think about evergreen topics. So don't just talk about what's happening right now, but what's going to be relevant 5 years from now, so that you don't have to reinvent that content over and over again, once and done. So
yeah. So many times that evergreen content just, it comes about naturally. What are people asking all the time? So answer those questions in your blog post or answer them in your social media. And that way you've taken care of the question before it comes up the next time. You can answer it or answer it shorter and then, send it on. I see, as I say, Angela's up there just smiling and grinning. I missed something somewhere. Who?
Kevin.
Kevin.
It's Kevin.
It's always Kevin.
Is it always
That's
Kevin?
all we have to say. It's Kevin and not Oakley.
I was looking at Anya, not Kevin. So I guess that's why I missed it. So
poor Kevin Oakley, you get stuck in it. It's always Kevin.
Keep focused
Let's
on
call
the
Kevin
Kevin, and we're just fine.
Kevin, we're going to call you Karen.
Karen, that's funny. Well, I'm going to move on from that with a question for Matt. You reference good market syndrome, GMS, advice for not becoming complacent. What should builders be doing during these times?
So GMS really, it originated back in the day as a builder, and it was really a nice way of telling my salespeople to stop being order takers, right? Like, don't get GMS because you're actually going to have to close this deal because the market has been so good for so long. Now we're literally in we thought 2016, 2017, 2018, we thought these were incredible years. And now here we are 2020. And it's just like, holy moly, we had no idea what it was. But GMS is similar to irritable bowel syndrome in the sense, if you don't take care of it, it's gonna bother you.
Thanks for cleaning that up for us.
That's right. What I mean is, sales covers up a lot of problems, right? And so, when we started this pandemic at the very, very beginning, all of us were screaming, like, you've got to really start evaluating what you're doing. You've got to invest in the right things in the right places. Content is one of those massive things. And GMS ties in, my part really ties into everyone else, what everyone else is talking about as well. But an example of it is, we're selling a whole lot right now. So we don't really need to spend money on X. We don't really need to spend money on bettering our process. We don't need to spend money on those extra photos or Matterporters because we're selling enough houses the way that it is. You should break your computer's amount of content. And Kevin Oakley knows this because I shared a bunch of content with him, 6 years ago. And in a Dropbox, and he was like, you literally broke my computer with all of trying to download all of this. I
just asked for the best photos and he sent me 8 gigabytes.
But I mean, that is the type of investment level when we're talking about content and then how it relates to context. That's the type of investment level. We should be digging in, asking those deeper questions about how we need to improve. And not just being like, we're selling okay. We don't really need to, don't poke the bear right now because we're selling. Well, it's a lot easier to invest in things that you need to fix when sales are really, really good, because it's really difficult when times are tough and you're way behind plan to go into the owner's office or to go into your division president's office and say, hey, I need to spend $75,000 and make all my floor plans interactive because this is what people are doing. Right. And they're going to look at you and go, you have lost your mind, right?
Wait.
Give it to me.
You mean
That's
we
awesome.
should be forward thinking in home building and we have to plan ahead? What?
A little bit. And, one of the things to end on this, you know, everyone was talking about at the very, you know, we've had this flood of people, and we've got to manage buyers' expectations. Everyone here understands that. We've all been screaming that from the mountaintops with your backlog. One of the things that we tried to get a lot of our builder partners to do was invest. All right, let's try to create that somewhat of an Amazon experience where when they buy, there's a trickle of email about what the process is going to look like, what you can expect next. How can we take some of that off of the salespeople's plate so they can concentrate on getting more buyers or getting your buyers through the process? And what we found was, instead of everyone jumping on board with that, they realized that they actually didn't know or couldn't distinctively quantify what their exact process was after someone wrote a contract.
Yep.
And we had to have this whole much larger conversation about what are the touch points and how do we communicate that?
Yeah, absolutely. You've nailed it. You know, Kimberly bought a house this year. She can certainly speak to the process she experienced or didn't.
Yeah. And I had one of the better ones. So, and still there were holes in it for sure. Chris Hartley, a few years ago, did some videos, and I hope you're still doing those videos, Chris, but I thought this was the coolest thing that he did, where he created these videos to help with the handoff so that people knew what to expect. They knew who to expect it from. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah,
Chris.
we brought those to K-Hawk. So, I mean, you know, the whole idea here is you build up a relationship with the prospect, and then all of a sudden you just get dropped and you're forgotten about. So you need to put a face with a name. You need to move on with the process. You need to get them involved. You need to get them involved quickly. So if you get everything pre-recorded and on video and you get it sent out immediately, then there is an instant communication, instant connection, and the competition is not doing it. They're just not. And so when we did that display for International Builder Show, 3 years ago, I mean, if you're not already doing it now, you should have been doing it 3 years ago, but you definitely should be doing it now. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, and they don't have to be, to Anya's point, I mean, they don't have to be these polished, professional, big productions. In fact, if they aren't, it's even better.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually interesting. It's interesting that you say that. And I think, Kimberly, you know that I sat in on a Seth Godin webinar yesterday, and his comment was, stop being paralyzed by perfect content. I think his comment was that he's written something like 75,000 blog posts. He said, I guarantee not one single one of them is perfect, but you just sit down. Progress is better than perfection. There
Amen.
You go.
Yes.
You've just got to do it. You've got to create it and do the best you can do at the time that you create it. But our buyers demand it. And if anyone thinks for a minute that a buyer today is going to go on a website and think that it's okay that there's not a 3D tour of some type there, whether it's Matterport or whatever, I mean, you're crazy. They're expecting it from everyone. Even if you build custom homes, they want to be able to walk through one of them virtually. It's not going back. I mean, this is probably in some ways the best thing that's happened to this industry. Because instead of begging our clients to get on board the train, I think they see the train left the station in 2020 and it is not turning around. It's gaining speed.
I haven't heard one builder this year say, oh, go ahead, Meredith. Sorry.
Yeah, jump, Meredith.
Yeah, so I was just going to jump in and clarify something on the progress and perfection and the standards, because I think if you're doing one-on-one communication, so you're that salesperson in the field, you're wanting to communicate what is the next step, getting something out and it not having to be Steven Spielberg level production is probably pretty acceptable and pretty good. If you're in the corporate marketing department or you're in charge of marketing, I think the design standards and the visual communication standards are actually pretty high.
Oh, I agree
and
with you
your
on
website design, visual communication standards of what goes on your social media channels and your website visuals, your photography, actually the standards are beyond.
Yeah.
And they have to represent you at a level at which most of us are now media publishing companies of one with our iPhones, which puts us at a real disadvantage, which is another big challenge we could take a whole nother webinar to discuss. But there is a distinction and a difference there that I think we can make, that some of us are using that conversation as an excuse not to get certain pieces of content out because of perfection over progress. Whereas we need to make the distinction on what is the difference between getting one-on-one communication, customer expectation setting, customer service, relationship building communication media out that does not have to be the latest Ron Howard Netflix film versus professional visual communication that looks like $1 million because our homes don't cost $1 million, but they're worth $1 million.
100%. No one wants to see distorted, angled walls in an image
No.
on your website.
Nobody wants trash in the yard. Nobody wants any of that. So kind of filter it through and just think about the distinction and the difference in what kind of content it is you're producing, the goal and the audience that it's for.
Can we bring salespeople into this as well? Because I know that, you know, it's a marketing conversation, but I get asked all the time from salespeople about Facebook Live and doing all those things. And I'm a big advocate of it all. I think that it all seems to work well. But I think that perhaps they have this sort of paralysis based upon what Chris was saying, that it's not perfect and they maybe don't think they're perfect speakers or whatever it is. None of us are, especially me. So I can relate to that, but you just got to go out and do it. So is there anything we can talk to in terms of providing confidence to salespeople to say, just go out and do it, make your videos, do something different, think out of the box, and speak directly to your audience without overthinking it? Is there any wisdom on that?
It takes practice. I mean, the more you do it, the better you get at it. I know we were recording a podcast earlier today for Kevin and Greg's podcast. You know, I look at early versions of things I did. It's cringeworthy, but you get better. You get over the fact that you clearly have gained 25 pounds. You get over the fact that you're missing some hair or you have more hair in places you thought you didn't want it. You just start to overlook those things. The more that you do it, you don't see them as much. There's a force yourself to do it factor. There's a practice factor, just like there would be learning an instrument or a language or any of these other things. And that's where our leaders have to require us to turn this content in. Every Friday, a 30-second something is due, whether it's ever published anywhere or not, something's due, because otherwise it doesn't happen. Right, Carrie?
Right. That's that Meredith and I always tell everybody in our teams that it's the accountability. And they also, it's a lot less nerve-wracking when they send it to me, you know, from that it's like, you know what, I'm happy to look at it. And then I just have to be careful because I want them to do it and not, to Chris's point, have it be perfect. So I don't critique it like it should be something good. I'm like, that was so awesome. Make sure you sent that. But the thing in all these words in progress that we're talking about is, I think that when we started Builder Town Hall, you guys, you three, right from the very beginning in March, and all the people jumped on BombBomb videos, remember, like crazy, and did everything we told them to do. What you need to do now is protect the progress that you've made during this time. Like those things that you did in March and April and May, whenever, protect the progress of that and continue doing it.
Accountability is it's absolutely so key. Meredith, to change gears just a little bit, you were talking about data, and I think we all know that with our CRMs and with everything, we got to collect all this data, but then nobody's doing anything. Who's looking at it? What are they supposed to do with all this stuff?
Yeah.
How do they learn from it?
We're pretty much overwhelmed with data. And the interesting thing is nobody really cares about your data. They don't. Who cares? We're overwhelmed by it. We've got so much of it. It's coming from every vendor. So you've got your, interactive media data that's coming in from that vendor, your home builder website vendor sending you data, your digital marketing company sending you data, your listings vendor sending you data. Everybody on this call is sending you data. You don't even care anymore because it's true. It's true. What you care about are the insights to the data. What you care about is the context of the comparison of the data. So what I want to challenge you for 2021 is not so much the raw data that you receive, but it's to be able to compare it to each other, whether it's year over year or community against community or floor plan against floor plan. But you've got to put it against something, find some insights to it, and then be able to say, what does this mean to us? Does this mean we need to make an adjustment in spend on this neighborhood? Does this mean this floor plan is a dud? Or does this mean nothing? It's an outlier. We're going to ignore it. Not every piece of data even means anything or is any good. So stop being overwhelmed, inundated, and completely tackled by all of your data. Get a dashboard of your top 10 or 15 most important data points that you're going to pay attention to, consistently do it, but do them in a way that I talk about data goalposts, right? So goalposts, when we kick a field goal and in football, we're trying to get it through the goalpost. And the reason the goalpost matters is because they give us a place to land the ball. They give us a location to drive that field goal to score our points. Well, data only matters if we have goalposts to score our points, to put our data through. So the comparison of the year over year, the floor plan over floor plan, are the goalposts of which we decide if that data is important or relevant or meaningful to us. So,
Hey, Meredith,
yeah.
will you talk, because I think it's super valid, how you speak to the data, what you do with it in real time. Sometimes you get data and how, you know, sometimes you save it for the next meeting, the benefit of real time with data.
Yeah, I mean, so when Carrier and I are teamed up, so we're in Google Analytics, like big old data nerds, and we've got this community compared to that community compared to this community. We've got how many visits, how many % are new, how long they stayed, and what floor plans they looked at. We've got that overlaid with Kevin Weitzel's interactive plans and which ones of those and how long they viewed that. And then we've got that's down 30%. And then we're like, why? And then we see, oh, the Facebook ad stopped. Oh, why'd the Facebook ad stop? The credit card expired. Really? Who let the credit card expire? I mean, like literally, sometimes you guys, the problem you're trying to fix is your credit card expired for your Facebook ads. That was it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have a giant marketing problem. But other times we're like, oh, the credit card's still running. What's wrong? Oh, well, okay, what if we change the Facebook ad messaging and we changed 3 photos and we changed out the family for the couple and we changed the exterior for this product and the kitchen for that, and we ran it 30 more days, and then we rechecked it in real time, Carrie, and then Enter Now popped, and then she goes, oh, the salesperson says they're right now doing a self tour with the Enter Now data, goalpost, right? So this is how all the data, and it's all in real time, but it's synced together and it's compared to something and it's being consistently looked at. And that's when data means something. And that's when it's useful to you instead of drowning in it.
Love it.
Or
You are
ignoring it.
spot on. And it's all about that executive summary, like you said, not just having it, looking at it, comparing it month over month, year over year, compare it to your goals. And, you know, and then if something falls off the track completely, well, then why? Maybe your website traffic is down because you closed out 5 communities. And you know, they're not coming up in search. And sometimes, it's just like you said, it's an easy as, we actually had a client this week that we noticed their Facebook card hadn't gone through. So their Facebook ads weren't running. We're like, oh, hey, what happened? Did you get a new card? And they're like, actually, we were hacked. So yes, you got a new card. I'll go plug that in now.
You know, right. But then in other times, the positioning of the community was completely wrong. It was a miss, or the images were a miss, or the photography was bad, or the whatever, or all of that was right. And it's a price problem, people. You got that. It's your problem. You know, you didn't do a market analysis. You got a wrong product in the wrong location at the wrong price. I'm telling you right now. Like, you know, so sometimes it's little problems, sometimes it's big problems, but all of that can be seen if we're analyzing it in a context of something that means something and not just drowning in zeros and ones.
It's great advice.
Yep.
Great stuff.
People, but social media, you know, you can get all that information on which posts performing better. So pay attention to that too as you're producing the content. And right now, if you look at Instagram, you'll see it's all about reels, right? So it's short content, 15, 30-second content, and it's fun. So make it really fun, short, and be done with it, right? So that's what people want.
Well, and Anya, the really good reporting, like a Google Data Studio or a Dash This, any of those really good products will pull into that executive level summary Carol referenced. They'll put your social top level social numbers, your Google ad, your Facebook ad, your Google Analytics. They'll put all of that into a single dashboard for you, whatever
Mhm.
those important numbers, your CRM numbers from your Lasso, they can put all of that into something for you and get you a really nice snapshot from a bunch of different channel sources.
Yep.
Data always tells a story, and I would say for 2021 and beyond, you do need to have access to the direct data itself.
Of course.
You always want to obviously
Yes.
work with someone you trust to help you analyze, but at the end of the day, the
Absolutely.
person who knows the story about your community and your homes the best is probably someone who works in your building.
Oh,
Right.
So
100%.
to
You know,
have
and
direct
that's-
access that's live and update versus waiting for a PDF or a PowerPoint, because
Oh, no.
you know, you got to have the ability to
No.
massage in real
Yeah,
time.
And
Yeah, and the ability to massage and figure out what the answer to that question is, you know, that why,
That's
which
right.
is, you know, what Meredith was really pointing out, is that you got to figure out that why and adjust and move
Yeah.
You
on.
can't do that from a summary, but your boss, that the top levels, they don't want all that.
Right.
And
Right.
they're not going to look at it. So you
Right.
got to kind of figure out what who your audience
well,
is.
and like we said, the real time, Kevin, the reacting to it, like saving all that data for a level 10 meeting twice a month. I mean, like, is that the craziest thing you've ever heard of? Where like all of a sudden you're sitting and you see something happen, like to use Enter Now. You see all these people that are going through. Why are you not calling that salesperson, said, get to your CRM, look at this. This person has been in the home 2 times in the last 4 days. Call them, meet them, do something.
Right, right, absolutely. Well, let's move on. I want to make sure we get through all of our questions. So I've got a question for Greg Bray. You know, we hear a lot about buy now online, and you know, really kind of that Amazon. You know, we all want to buy it now. We want it now. And then there's a whole trend that buyers are relocating, you know, out of necessity. They're buying sometimes sight unseen. Is this going to be a trend moving forward? What do you see?
So I think buy online is definitely moving beyond the trend stage into it's really happening. There are builders definitely experiencing it, but I for sure see that buy sight unseen, I still see as potentially the exception, not the rule. I don't believe that buy online has to equal unassisted, sight unseen, completely independent purchase. All right. Buy online means there are tools on the website so that when I'm at home, I can keep the process moving forward. I can still tour, I can still talk to somebody, I can still have assistance, but then I can go home and I can say, okay, yes, that's the lot I want. Yes, that's the home I want. Yes, I want to make a reservation. Yes, I can trust that the pricing and the availability is accurate on the website, you know, that it's not 3 months old and that home's really still available. You know, there's this data underlying connection that I think where a lot of builders start to struggle with buy online. I think some of the things Kevin was alluding to probably had to do with data management behind the scenes as to why they couldn't get things moving.
That's where you decide where you put the pieces of paper in your filing system.
Yeah,
like data
exactly.
management.
Exactly. Yeah. When you go, who knows if lot 1, 2, 3 is actually available and it's on Fred's spreadsheet
map
over
on the wall
there,
tells
you know,
you.
I got, you know, that's a data management issue, right? So for buy online, I really think too many people think of Amazon in the sense that I'm just going to go pick it by myself and be done. And buy online really is about tools that enhance the process, give maybe some transactional pieces to that process that they can do on their own, but it doesn't have to mean unassisted, and it doesn't have to mean that they never visit either.
I love it.
And it also should mean that it's right, so that they don't have to redo it when then a person goes in and adjusts it later. I know I ended up signing documents 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times.
Yeah, you know, that whole idea. I mean, we're all consumers too, right? I got a Christmas Amazon order I'm in a fight with the seller because it hasn't showed up yet. It was supposed to show up 3 days ago, and they're going, sorry, you only had 30 minutes to cancel after. I was like, I'm not canceling. I haven't gotten it. I want my money back. You know, it's like we have these types of things all the time. You don't want those bad experiences because guess who they go tell? You know, when that happens, right? And that's a whole nother conversation, reputation management, right? But
yeah,
but you know, you've got to make it easy, and these are tools to help make it easier.
And Angela, on that theme with the tools, so you know, this industry has lagged so far behind. This is the first year that I haven't had a builder say that internet thing is a fad. So for that, I'm grateful for 2020 that it didn't happen for once.
Yeah.
So, but what do you recommend? And I mean, how do they get started if they feel like they're behind?
So, I think it was Matt, who I think is, I'm looking down, Matt, I think, because you're below me, who said several months ago that it's builders who've had to catch up, and it's been less of a change for our buyers, right? So my recommendation to builders is first assess what you have and how you're using technology and the systems you subscribe to. The term tech stack may be new to some of you, but it essentially refers to all of your systems and how they work together to sell your product and manage your business. So there's a great quote from Steve Jobs, but it's now, Kimberly, it's now your quote too. But you need to start with the customer experience and journey, and then figure out what technology you need. So not the other way around. And you said that right out of the gate this morning. If you aren't using your existing systems, it's not often because they don't work, but it's because it's not driven from the top down, and there isn't an integrated, strategic, purposeful approach. So marketing has shifted, and as Kevin, you said this, there's a need for a technologist role and looking at how your applications tie together and how to provide a better experience for your buyers. So, on a tactical note, and I know, Kevin, you've talked about this in the past, there's a wonderful tool called Zapier, which, magically connects so many applications together and really can make your life better. And if nothing else, I really recommend subscribing to their blog. It's one of the most useful blogs outside of our industry, outside of home building, for marketers, in my opinion. But from a sales perspective, consider the role of sales operations. So really understanding the data, and Meredith, you talked about this, building out reports, looking at those insights, truly managing your CRM.
Yes.
Implementing and reviewing your sales processes, and constantly looking at ways to be better and achieve better results more efficiently. So sales management is more about the people, but what I'm suggesting is really to look at who owns the sales operations and just owning your systems and how they're used. And when you get your core systems and approach in place and working, that's when you have the opportunity to experiment and try different things. And that's when it sparks innovation and creativity.
But you got to get started with it for sure.
You do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just adding to that, 10 seconds, is the companies that I've seen that are ahead of the game, or at least leading the pack, especially right now, have tech savvy sales and marketing leaders at that executive table. They are the ones driving the direction of where it needs to go. And they are the ones that have the ear of the owner, the division president, making and pushing for those decisions. Those are the companies that I've seen that are leaps and bounds further than anyone else.
Yeah, I would agree.
So true.
I would say I spoke to somebody this past month, I'm going to say, to make it wide open, but their VP of sales had never logged into their CRM.
Ooh,
that hurts me.
And you kind of hope that nowadays that's not the case, and that shouldn't it shouldn't happen, but it is the case, and it is reality. So it's something we just really, really, and I hope 2021, brings that change.
Yeah, I manage teams from across the country using the CRM. So, that gives me everything I need to see to be able to keep them on the right path. Your CRM is the hub of all of this. It's crazy. So, Carol, let's move on so we get Roland.
Yeah, let's move on to Roland.
Roland here.
Well, we've talked a little bit about trust today. Roland has found that the ability for a company and its salespeople to communicate trust can be a huge differentiator. Roland, tell us a little bit more about how this works.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I'm going to talk directly to the salespeople out there, my sales peeps out there. So, all this talk of machines selling things and so forth. I mean, yes, we do buy plenty of stuff on Amazon, but we aren't machines. We are human beings that need to relate to other human beings. And so, you know, I've always sort of recalled a bit when talking about selling machines. It's just not that way, right? So as I was thinking of a topic for Lasso, in fact, I was walking my dog and I thought, what would be a good thing? And I love acronyms. So I thought of this acronym while walking my dog. So here it is. It's the word trust, but it relates to what we're talking about. So the T is, and I don't want to be overly salesy here, but it just keeps us on track nicely. So the T is working together. So going into 2021, we need to let people know that we're in this together with them. It's all new to us. We don't know what we're doing either. You know, the comfort or discomfort, perhaps of wearing a mask and stuff like that. I have a salesperson in Orlando, Mike McCrary. I give him a shout out. He's hilarious. He still texts me and calls me a dirty Englishman. I don't know where he gets that cheek from, but he worked for me 20 years ago in Orlando. Anyway, he's a great salesperson, but he taught me this way. He says, you know, I am smiling underneath here. I'm laughing, I'm smiling, and we're in this together. So that's the first thing about going into the new year. Let people know you're in this with them together so they can relate to you. The R is for relate. You have to be relatable. People connect with others like them. I have a picture of my little group here, my family. I don't know if you can see that, but there we are, Christmas morning. But I always advocate having pictures of your loved ones around your desk, wherever you sit down with clients, because we are humans that have to relate to others. So it's an important thing, whatever it is, however you can find common ground with people, whether it's family, pets, interests, sports teams, whatever. Let's find a way to connect with people and relate. The whole idea is that trust plus process equals sales. Great to have a good process, but if they don't trust you, it's not going to work. Would we agree with that? Right? There has to be the combination of the two. The U is for understanding. You got to understand each other. So two major takeaways: ask questions and listen. I know it sounds obvious, but in sales, we tend to think of ourselves of having to talk so much. And I've said it a million times, telling is not selling. You know, we're looking for plan. So you got to ask questions, you got to listen, but then you got to prove that you actually listen. So the S is for solutions. Your company name, Kimberly, I thought of you. There we go. But once you've listened to somebody and they trust you, you can then say, well, based upon that, Kevin, why don't we go look at this? Based upon that, it sounds like you're looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom, a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home for about 2.5 million, Kevin, on a mountain, whatever it is. So, but let's go look at it. We have
Sounds
what you're
good.
looking for. Sounds great.
2.5 million. Sign me up.
Who knows? I know you're living well in that little cabin behind you. You're just, that's just for your appearance's sake. But anyway, so once people trust you and they know that you listen, then you can provide that solution. If they walk into your office and you say, "Let me tell you about my builder. We have a great home for you." Well, you don't know me. I don't trust you. So how can you advocate for that? So we got to be patient. Let them know we're working in this together. That we can relate to them. We understand their needs. Show them that you understand their needs. We're providing a solution. And then the T, the second T, is for team. We have to remind ourselves as salespeople that we have a big company. We're part of a big team here. We don't have to fix everything. So I like to say we over me. It's the team here. It's the team approach. That they were online, looking at our beautiful homes, building the home maybe online, thinking about the whole combination of their dream kitchen and everything. We didn't design that. That was a collaboration between our architects, our designers, whomever, interior design, and our builders. So let's not try to solve everything ourselves. Let's let them know we're part of a great team, and that team is going to help them. So there we go. So my idea is let's make sure that we know how to build trust in a meaningful way, and then add to that a great process, both through our marketing and our systems, and that will cause a successful 2021.
Nothing happens without trust. Very well
Nothing
said.
happens without
Very
trust.
well said. That's right.
Well, good. And people will react badly if they don't trust you. You can give them bad news and they trust you, it's fine. It's, that's okay. You can make a mistake, but if there's no trust, then they'll react badly to everything that goes on. All right.
So, all right. And Kevin Weitzel and his eye that just came on the camera there. Woo, that was scary. Kevin, virtual touring is here to stay. So, whether the pandemic may have brought it on and the need for it, or at least the need for us to embrace it, but our buyers have been demanding it forever. So what can builders do to perfect their virtual tour?
So there's a kind of a double-edged sword on this one, because GMS, as Matt Riley coined it, applies all the time. Builders don't change what they do because they have a certain level of success, an acceptable level of success, where they don't feel like they need to change or update anything to make it any better. But guess what? As Amazon proves, Your clients are demanding that technology. They're demanding real time when I want to see it in an environment. So with that being said, then it comes down to, can you fund it or not? You know, can you get the brass to open up the purse strings enough to get it done? Well, guess what? They don't have a choice anymore, because they are, every single day that they wait, they're becoming less and less relevant. As builders, if you have black and white stick drawings, shame on you if you do, but there are some out there that still do. And you have like these horrible little, like hard to read floor plans, and there's plenty of them that do. You are literally setting yourself up for failure. Maybe not 10 years ago, but right now you're setting yourself up for failure. So then it comes down to, how can you convince the brass, the decision makers, to open up the purse strings? Well, you go into their office with a bottle of scotch and you say, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Now, you've turned down this budget for these interactive floor plans, for these virtual tours and everything else. You have 3 models per community as a general rule. I just want you to get rid of 1 model. And guess what, Mr. Boss or Mrs. Boss? And a lot of times they're old, 60-year-old, some odd 60 old dudes. Oh, sorry, Carrie. I'm almost there. I'm getting there. Anyway, so they fall in the same bucket, so they don't think they need to. But guess what? They understand money. And if you say, if you give me 1 of those models, just wipe it out, I can fund everything I want to do, everything, literally everything, and have enough money left over after this entire endeavor is done, that, you know what, boss? I want you to, just like Cousin Eddie says, go out and get yourself something real nice, you know, because that is really what's going to happen. You won't affect their sales whatsoever. You're not going to affect the sales. Matter of fact, you're going to increase their sales because you've increased the viability, the engageability, everything. So what can you do? You can get off your ass and implement a plan of action to put these proper tools in place. You can have the luck of the GMS of having the right dirt in the right community, in the right market, in this hot, people want to live in new homes that don't have COVID germs in them. You can have that. But guess what? When the tides turn and now you have to be more competitive, and let's say you don't still have that same lot. Now you have that dog shit, excuse my language, that dog doo-doo hunk of land that's in a crappy school district that's near a landfill that nobody wants to buy in. Guess what? Now you have to have those tools to sell that same product line.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
I think
what I
you're
got.
spot on that. So get rid of 1 model, put everything virtual, and you probably can make all of them virtual and hire an online sales counselor and still have money left over.
People don't realize
and it
how
won't be
much that
outdated
dirt
by the
costs.
time you're done with it. 'Cause
Right.
With the time we build the model, it's already outdated and we've changed it 4 times.
You
It's
got
all
it.
about the amount of time that the consumer is spending. You know, how much time are they walking through all 3 of those homes? And then I just did a real quick calculation as you were telling that story, Kevin, of 1 builder. The amount of time collectively spent by people on their website in the last 30 days is 1,845,000 hours.
Wow.
Holy moly.
It's a lot of time.
So why would you invest all that money in these 3 models that people are spending a total amount of 20 minutes, 25 minutes, maybe? If they're
Yeah,
not
especially
sitting down to make a
now with,
purchasing decision?
you know, shelter in place orders are going back into effect. You know, we don't really know what's going to happen next year. I think you're spot on. So, well, and this is a great segue into a question for Chris. You know, is it time to take risks? And if so, how do you get the company on board?
Okay, so we already saw that I have these little note cards everywhere, right? So is it time to take a risk? Time is now. And I had learned from Kevin Oakley. I mean, everybody on this panel is a dear friend, but there are people who have changed my life on this panel. And Kevin Oakley is one of those humans. And 8 years ago, Kevin and I started working together, and he gave me the best advice ever. And that was, funding is no excuse. And funding is no excuse because you are budgeting for the things you want to do. And what he coined a long time ago, which is a research budget. And if you're not putting 10%, in my opinion, 10%, I think you were probably what, 5 to 7% back then. I think you need to be putting a significant piece of your budget in there for research, because how I got my career to where it is today was because I listened to that amazing human right there, Kevin and Matt. But it was because we took risks a long time ago to be doing unassisted entry when nobody even knew what that was. You know, we were just doing things that were far advanced way back then because we had the money in the budget. Now, if you have something in the budget and you're calling it a research budget, then nobody can take it away from you, right? But if you go and you ask your division president or the owner for something later, then he's like, okay, well, you can have that, but you got to get rid of something else, But if you're already planning for it, then it's there. I mean, there's so many, I have pages of notes just from today. Protect the progress. You know, Matt Riley said it earlier. You know, it's so easy to ask for money when times are good.
Yeah.
Go do everything you need to do right now. Go do it right now. And then get caught up. And then if nothing else, it's kind of like when you do community reviews. You know, Kevin Oakley will laugh at this. You do community reviews inside of your neighborhoods once a quarter. So at least 4 times a year, you knew your neighborhoods look good. Well, do a freaking community review on your own website. Right. Make sure all of your plans look good. Make sure your elevations look good and just nail it. But there is zero excuse. And there's another one I want to share with you. It says, you have the power to change everything. Stop making excuses, get it done and move on. Because as Carol said, the pandemic really is probably the best thing that's happened to home building because we've actually moved forward. We really have a long ways.
Finally.
Remember going to the Builder Show 5 years ago and be like, this is not rocket science. Why are we not doing this? But finally, people can see why we're doing it, but then we do need to protect the progress. So Carrie, I absolutely love that. That is the theme for me going into 2021 for sure.
Oh, buddy, you're awesome. Oh.
So, and that does bring us to Carrie last.
Yeah.
So definitely not least. So you reference home buyer cravings. So it's after lunch, and we're probably.
I know it, right? So first off, Kevin Weitzel, speaking of 60 and old, I will be 66 tomorrow, and I ain't going anywhere. So all of you all just get ready. Game on.
Age is just a number, Carrie.
As long as you've logged into your CRM recently, it's all good. It doesn't matter how old you are.
Oh, I have to do that? So craving. It's, you know me, I always go random or I always go weird because something hits me and then I'm like, that has to do with sales, right? That is with the experience. And then I just take that word and Roland, I'm kind of the same person with you with acronyms, but you're craving something, right? Just play this game with me. You're all hungry and you go to the refrigerator and you open it up and you're looking for something. You don't know what it is, but you eat something, and that wasn't it. And you go back a little while later. Okay.
Sorry.
And then you go back, salt. But then you go and you continue to eat to feel a craving, and you've gained 10 pounds and you're not full, right? People have a craving to build a new home. That's how it starts. We kind of talk about a need, a life event, a happening, you know, all those people are like going, oh my God, I knew she'd say all this stuff. But really what happens is they get a craving for something and they want it. So they're coming, and what we need to do, whether it's sales, whether it's marketing, we need to fill the craving, because if you fill the craving, just like we shut the refrigerator, they stop shopping. Is that not your goal? In all of what you do, is your goal to not get people when they're on your website, your model, with your OSC, stop shopping, right? So feed the craving. What are they looking for? There's some things that you can write down, and when they see or feel these things, they're done shopping. They're looking for knowledge. What do you know? Trust, for sure, Roland. They're looking for the service. What service do I get while I build? What service do I get after I build? They want, in Meredith's old world, remember we spoke and she had the easy button and she banged this big button. They want to know how easy it is. That was awesome. So I want it to be easy. Reliability, like when something goes wrong, tell me about the reliability, honesty, and value. If you can fill someone up with part of that, you have fed their craving. And when you've done that, then they're yours. So just kind of take your CRAVE and your C being, you got to calm or conquer what they were getting hungry for. So you have to respond to it. You have to act on it, verify that you're the one. And the E is just end the craving, stop the shopping, use your list. Because we're all craving something. The person that you're meeting right now is flipping agitated. They're coming in hungry, hot, and agitated. Fill the craving. Woo!
I'm hungry now.
Uh-huh.
Let's crawl.
So we definitely ran long, but I want to thank all of our amazing panelists that joined us today, and for those of you who hung in with us till the very end. So here they are again. So we will send out links to everybody's website, so you'll be able to find that and be able to connect with anybody who was on here. I'd like to invite you to join me on Tuesday as I go head to head with Myers Barnes, because this wasn't enough. Apparently I have to take on Myers Barnes on Tuesday too. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining us, and wish you a safe and wonderful rest of the year. Look for all of us in 2021 in our podcast and everything else. So thank you all very much. Bye, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you. Merry
Happy
Christmas.
holidays.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Festivus.
You guys rock.
Happy every day.
Christmas.
Happy birthday.
Oh, yes, that's tomorrow. Happy birthday
anniversary.
to
Happy
you.
Thank you. Thank you. The old one.
All right, I'll see you guys all in just a minute.
Ciao.
Bye.